sounds good. Yeah.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to the Roman Show. And on the line, we have JJ all the way from Canada of the band Thunderor. And JJ, thanks so much for your time to speak to us. Just like you, many bands came out of the pandemic. They started writing music and started getting together and started going on a different route. And for you, JJ, it's no difference there. But you've taken on another role, something that you've been wanting to do, and you finally have done. So welcome to the Roman Show, and let's talk about Thunderor.
Yeah, thanks, Rodolfo. It's my pleasure to be here.
So the first up here, you got Fired Up, is the latest hit, the single that you guys dropped that's fuming right now. You are an 80s fused band. And I meant to ask you this because I've interviewed a couple of bands, and it seems that the 80s bands are coming back, or new bands are performing 80s themed rock hair metal. Where do you think that this trend is coming from?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think in recent years, there's definitely been like an uprising of 80s music and 80s style coming back up again. I've noticed it in a lot of bands. I mean, it's you can see some heavy metal bands are doing it. Like I'm thinking of like the latest Striker single is very like heavy 80s. People are starting to bring back keyboards, which I love because I'm a huge fan of keyboards and synth. So I really dig that. But I think it was kind of from my perspective, I think the synthwave movement had kind of something to do with it. Which was like, I don't know, I guess 5 years ago now or something. But I think that kind of got people into like thinking, oh yeah, the 80s thing is cool. You know, like the Kung Fury movie and stuff like that. I think is like really making people be like, oh yeah, like this 80s stuff is cool. Like you look at the new Reckless Love single and album that's coming out is very like 80s heavy, like Miami Vice style. Same with the latest Heat stuff. I think they're from Sweden. Yeah. So yeah, I think there's definitely some kind of movement there, and as a big fan of the '80s and like the actual music that was made in those years, I'm loving it right now.
Yeah, heck, you could even go into sports. We're down here in Miami Heat. They had retro jerseys. They had that Miami Vice type of feel to it. I don't know. Could it be something that the '80s just brought smiles? Brought happiness again. Maybe that's why metal's taking on that course. Because for a moment, it was more of the metalcore, the aggression, the screaming, the yelling. But now it's kind of tamed down.
Yeah, if you've heard the Thunderor record, like you'll notice it's a very uplifting kind of mood. The melodies are kind of like there's a lot of major stuff, so it's very like kind of happy sounding. And yeah, I really dig that. I think it's a cool element to bring to heavy metal. Is kind of like a happier vibe to it. Like I'm thinking of like, old Van Halen, Toto, and stuff like that. Like had that type of vibe. So yeah, I guess everything comes back. Maybe I guess it's time for the '80s to shine again.
Crazy, huh? Even with clothing, we always see it recycle itself. So you were part of the band Skullfist, and you brought along other members as well to create Thunderor. But something about you is that you were the drummer, but you've been wanting to sing. So I'm sure that this opportunity came for you during the pandemic. But tell us how that all came about and said, hey, you know what? I'm just going to go my route. I'm going to go this way. I'm going to start fresh and clean. And, of course, there's some consequences. There's some positives, some negative about it. But how did that all come about?
Yeah, so I'm actually still drumming in Skullfist.
Oh.
And funny enough, that was the big motivator for me was that Zach, the singer for Skullfist, has always been on my case about learning how to sing so that I could do the backups in Skullfist. and it was something that I was always kind of putting off. And I was like, yeah, I'll get to it. And I would kind of start practicing, but then I would get discouraged and put it off again. So it really started with me making a conscious decision that I was gonna learn how to sing and do it properly and put in the time that I needed to. So that was the initial spark for me to do that. And then in the process of doing that, I just kind of started to develop the idea that it would be really cool to front my own band and develop my singing that way. And plus, I wanted to do songwriting, so that was another motivator for me. It just seemed like the right time. And then during the pandemic, there was a lot of downtime. We had a lot of tours get pushed back or canceled. So everything just seemed to line up for me. And now I'm very happy that I did. It's very stoked on it, and I'm very happy that Johnny Nesta was on board with the project with me, because we played together for so long in Skullfist. So it's great to have him on board, and we wrote these cool songs together, and we're feeling really good about it.
So how do you go ahead and transition after using or playing? You got the baby there?
Yeah, it's actually my cat.
Your cat. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was a baby there. I'm like, I feel you, the struggles. I know how it is.
No, I know. Yeah. He whines like a baby. Yeah.
But how do you get accustomed, because you're so used to performing with the drumming on one side of the band, and then kind of flip your switch in your mind and say, now I got to put that aside and I just got to focus on the singing. So how much time, how much effort it took for you to learn and practice and singing and balance, right? Because you have to balance. You got Skullfist, and then you got the new band. So how do you play along the timing with that?
Yeah, well, it was a big challenge in the beginning, because I was learning to sing from scratch pretty much. But from the get-go, I made it a point to practice singing while drumming also, because I realized that, okay, if I'm going to do the backups in Skullfist, it's necessary for me to be able to do them while I'm drumming, right? So from the get-go, I made it a point to sing and practice the drums. So now I got it down. It's like anything, you just got to put in the time. Like as a drummer, you kind of have naturally good independence in the brain anyway. So it's kind of like singing and strumming an acoustic guitar, right? Like at first it's kind of weird, but then you get the hang of it and you get that separation happening. So now over time I can do it no problem. And as far as juggling bands, I've always had multiple projects on the go. So it's nothing really new to me there. It's just a matter of like juggling tour schedules when they get going. Obviously that hasn't been a problem over these last 2 years, because there's been nothing going on, right? But I like to stay busy, so I don't think it'll be a problem.
So Fired Up is a new record, and it drops this month. What can fans anticipate from this music? And of course, Fired Up is the single there. But is there another particular song that the fans should really keep a close ear on, and why?
Yeah, so we've got 2 singles out already. Like
Yep.
you said, the latest one is the title track, Fire It Up.
Yep.
We've actually got one more video that is going to drop next week for the song Dangerous Times. It's a very cool track. It's very different than the rest of the record. It's very piano heavy and very 80s. We've got a super cool video to go along with it. So like we're on a yacht, and there's a guitar, and we're out in the sea, and it's really cool. So I hope people will check that out. That actually drops the day before the album comes out. So next day, the February 25th is when the record drops. And I mean, if you dig the first couple singles, I think fans will dig the rest of the record. There's a good balance of like some fast tunes, and also like the catchier tunes, good amount of guitar solos, lots of synth. So I think for fans of Skullfist and just fans of like 80s heavy metal, should dig it.
And what about the concerts? I know Canada still has a lot of restraints as far as with the public gatherings and things like that. But what's in the future here? Are you gonna go on tour with this record? Are you gonna go back with Skullfist, or what's the plan?
Yeah, so things are starting to open up here. It depends on the province. So we're in Ontario, and apparently March 1st is when a whole bunch of stuff is getting lifted. So concerts are going to be able to happen again at full capacity and all that. So we've actually got a big show booked here in Toronto on March 5th. And that's going to be our album release party. So we're really stoked about that. It's going to happen a week after the record has been out, but that was the best we could do, because of the restrictions and everything. And then we've got a European tour that was supposed to happen in March, but it's being rescheduled for June right now, and that's with another Canadian band called Traveler. So yeah, we're hoping to be able to announce that very soon. They're just finalizing the rescheduled dates, and then we've got a couple shows with Udo on his Mexico dates of his South America tour. So that's also in June. Those shows were supposed to happen in January, then they got pushed back to June also. So yeah, we're stoked about that. Hoping to do some Canadian dates in September. For the U.S., we definitely want to hit it. We don't have anything secured yet, but yeah, we're planning to go hard to push this album. And we want to hit everywhere, do a proper album cycle with it.
Well, JJ, I want to thank you for your time and looking forward to perhaps seeing you out here in the States. We're in Florida, so I know you guys are always cold up there, so we could enjoy some of our warm weather. But we'd love to have you down here, and everybody check out Fire It Up, dropping on the 25th of this month of February. JJ, thanks so much for your time, man, and hope to see you on the stage here very, very soon.
Hell yeah. Thanks a lot, Rodolfo.